more classified material, linked to President Biden was discovered at a second location. CBS News correspondent Adriana Diaz is with us now to talk more about this. She was also the first to report about the original documents being found at an office previously used by the president, which included briefings and highly classified material. And so now there are more documents discovered. What do we know, if anything, about the new location and what might have been found?
Anne-Marie, we have very little information right now about this second discovery. So we don't know where it is. We don't know what was there. It could be one document. It could be more. And we don't know how it was found. Was this turned over or was this the result of a search? But what we do know is that the Justice Department is offering, they started an initial review to try to get all of those answers and see what the scope of this is.
Based on that, I mean, the first question that sort of came to mind to me was, well, how many other documents are out there? Could there be even more locations and more documents discovered?
Anything is possible, and that's what the Justice Department is looking at right now. That initial review that they're conducting, it's being run by the U.S. Attorney in Chicago. He's a Trump appointee, so he's not a Biden appointee looking at Biden documents. This is a Trump appointee looking at Biden documents, and that was intentional. His review is largely done, we are told. That's what a source tells us. So at this point, the Justice Department should have a good sense of the scope of this entire matter, and now the issue goes to the Attorney General. Once that preliminary review is completed, the Attorney General will then decide if further action is warranted. If he thinks there could be potential criminal charges involved in this, then he could allow for a criminal investigation, potentially a special counsel.
You know, keeping in mind not only this situation, but the situation with the previous president and the documents that were found at Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago, I also kept on thinking, boy, this system doesn't seem very good. What is the system that is in place to keep track of classified documents?
And those are the same questions we're asking, Anne-Marie. We spoke to a former intelligence official, and we asked, how often does this kind of thing happen? And also someone at the Department of Justice. And you know, one of those folks said, it's not infrequent that, you know, a minor issue could happen where somebody forgets a document in their briefcase or something like that. And there are cases where people can actually, there's a process where they can check out classified documents from a location if they need to, you know, work on them. Or look at them for some reason. All that has to be cleared, and you know, people can access these documents on a need-to-know basis. But what is supposed to happen is under the Presidential Records Act, and that treats presidents equally to vice presidents. After an administration leaves the White House, all of their documents go to the National Archives. Classified documents are stored in secure facilities, and some of those facilities are called SCIFs. They have extra measures to protect those documents and make sure that nobody can bring in any kind of cell phones into that space. It's a controlled environment. That's how it should work, but there are cases where, you know, documents are allowed to be in other places. So what investigators are looking at right now is whether proper protocol was followed and this was maybe just sloppy staff work, or if there's more there.
So investigators are looking into all of this. We already heard from congressional Republicans when the first 10 documents were found. How is Congress responding to this latest news?
Well, what's interesting is that the top Democrat and the top Republican from the Senate Intelligence Committee yesterday called for an official damage assessment from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Now, that's basically an assessment to see, you know, what is the potential risk of these documents being found in these locations? If, you know, somebody had seen them, you know, what might that expose? What is that level of risk? And that request for this damage assessment came before the news of this second location. So before this second location was known, the Senate, members of the Senate, you know, a Democrat and a Republican were asking for more information and for this damage assessment. The House Oversight Committee already has said that they plan to launch an investigation.
Wow. Well, looks like it's going to be a busy session of Congress already. Adriana, thank you very much.